Okay, guys, we got our quorum, so we're gonna get moving so we can get you all back to your committees. We're just gonna take folks in the order they walked in, okay? So Moria, my support staff over here and psychologist. Anyway, here's who we came. Delegate Martinez, we've got Delegate. She's not here? Okay.
Stein.
Okay, why do I see you here? See, okay, Martinez is not here. Okay. Moria, who are you? Okay, we've got Lopez, we've got Allen, we've got Stein, Pelagovich, Carr, Kaiser, Bagnell. Who am I missing? Grossman. Okay. Tavares was here.
She was first.
Tavares was here first. Okay, we're going to be an honor code. Who here thinks they were first? Okay, Delegate.
Nick Allen.
Okay, all fair. Delegate Tavares, you're going to go first, and we're here on House Bill 969, 961. Right. So let me just pull that up. Okay, it's a spot. This one's a sponsor-only piece of legislation. So, Delegate Tavares, why don't you take the time you need to present House Bill 961?
Thank you. Okay, let me move on over. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Pillman. Hi, Vice Chair Kagan and my senator and esteemed colleagues. I'm here to ask for your favorable report on HB 961, State Government Commission on New Americans. HB 961 creates a commission to systematically study and report on the contributions of new Americans in the state of Maryland. Immigrants not only fill crucial roles in our workforce, but also significantly contribute to our state, federal tax revenues and entitlement programs like Medicare and Social Security. In fact, per the American Immigration Council, immigrants contribute $13.3 billion in taxes in the state of Maryland, including $4.8 billion in the state and local taxes, and have $33.1 billion in spending power in adding to the state's economy. The reports to be produced by this commission will be done over 7 major counties/cities and statewide. It will also be updated every 5 years as the 5-year cycle of the American Community Survey is done by the U.S. Census. And just for the sake of brevity, I'll leave it there. And if you have any questions, I'm open to them. And I just want to say again, thank you for hearing this bill. And I ask for your favorable report on this bill.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the sponsor, Leah Tavares? Okay, thank you so much. That concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 961. Next, going to go. I don't see. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I think
was there anybody else testifying? I don't.
Well,
no?
We have, given what occurred with the Key Bridge and the deaths of the 6 immigrants, we have a lot of our folks that were working with me on this. Working on the response on the Key Bridge and trying to assist the families right now. As you know, the 6 people who passed away were immigrants.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just go next to Delegate Lopez isn't here. Somebody here for, okay, we've got, is it Emily?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go to House Bill 989. And you're here on behalf of Delegate Lopez. This is a Prince George's County delegation, Montgomery County delegation by county bill. And take the time you need. You're the only witness.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the chair and this committee. For the record, I am Emily Charlap. I'm Chief of Staff on behalf of Delegate Leslie Lopez, presenting HB 979. The delegate apologizes for not being able to be here herself. HB 979 is a recommendation to come out of the Montgomery County Development Review Process Work Group that Delegate Lopez chaired during the interim. This legislation streamlines the approval process for subdivision plats. Once a subdivision plat is submitted to the planning department, it is circulated to the Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services and others for their review. With each review cycle, the planning department consolidates comments and returns them to the applicant for corrections. The review cycle will be repeated until all agencies deem the plat acceptable and sign it, and then it must go to the planning board in public session. There are often several weeks spent obtaining signatures before the plan can go to the planning board. The purpose of this bill is to allow for an applicant to receive a tentative planning board approval of a plat while the plat is still circulating for signatures and other administrative tasks. Once the plat is conditionally approved by the planning board, it does not need to go back for additional review or approval if the conditions are met. This change will help subdivision plats move more quickly through the approval process with an expected savings of at least 3 weeks in the developmental review process. Vastly reducing the review timeline will expedite important growth, including needed affordable housing in Montgomery County. This bill received unanimous support from both the House and Senate Montgomery County and Prince George's County delegations. With that, I ask for a favorable report of HB 979.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the sponsor? Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, just
Brooks?
Chair, is it 979 or 989?
989.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay.
989.
Okay,
989.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for that. No, I appreciate it.
okay. That concludes bill hearing on House Bill 989.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Let's go to Delegate Stein next, and we're on House Bill 993.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, and committee members. For the record, Delegate Dana Stein on HB 993, which would establish the first week of April as Climate Education Week within the state. And this recommendation comes from two sources. The first is the Maryland Commission on Climate Change, on which the chair and I both serve. And each year, the commission issues a number of recommendations for the legislature and for state agencies to consider. And one of the recommendations in the area of education, communication, and outreach was to declare the first week of April as Climate Education Week. And April, reason why it's suggested to be part of April is because April is Earth Month. But the second source is students, both high school students and college students who, you know, anytime, and I'm sure this applies to committee members as well, anytime that I speak with students about the climate challenge that Maryland is facing, they're always interested in more information about what they can do, what their communities, schools, families can do to respond to the climate challenge. And so this reflects their interest in having more of an educational focus on climate issues as well. So the respective part of the Commission on Climate Change, which recommended this, has committed to provide free online resources and other research materials that can be used by educators and other groups if Climate Education Week was to be implemented. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I urge a favorable report.
Okay, any questions for the
Yeah.
Speaker Pro Tem, Vice Chair Kagan?
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, good to have you in here with that title. We ask questions about commemorative things in this committee. We are not Shane Pendergrass, the former wonderful chair, and my classmate, class of 94. But I do have a question about the date, if this bill were to move forward. And I understand that you said April is Climate Month. I'm going to be pretty myopic here. If it's the first week of April, none of us will be able to attend any of these commemorative, celebratory, educational days in our district. I wonder whether you or anyone has given any thought to the idea of the week that ends with Earth Day, or that includes Earth Day, April 20th. And I realize that's later in the month, but anyway, you don't have to answer it now, and again, I don't know whether the committee will feel like this is something that we want to move forward, but it would make, speaking for myself, it would make me sad to know that there were way cool things going on in Gaithersburg and Rockville, and I was busy here working on climate issues.
That's a very good point, Vice Chair, and I would be open to, you know, changing the date to make it more accommodating for us and perhaps other folks who would be interested in in getting involved. You're right. I mean, Earth Day is sort of the focal point of Earth Month. So perhaps, during that week might be better. So if the committee in its wisdom were to say, okay, we like the idea of a climate education week, but later in the month, I certainly would be open to that. And I imagine in the House that I just guessing now, imagine the HGO would probably be okay with that too.
Thank you very much, Delegate Singh. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Although April 20th is actually a big day, and I mean, I know there's a cannabis world. It's like
That's true.
it conflicts. Okay, any further questions for the sponsor? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House
Thank
Bill
you.
993. Thank you, Delegate Stein. Let's go to Delegate Allen. I'm just going to go on the list as folks walked in. Delegate Allen, you're here on House Bill 860.
Yes, sir.
And you take the time you need to present House Bill 860.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Senators. My name is Delegate Nick Allen. I'm here today to testify in support of my bill, House Bill 860, which deals with housing and community development, and specifically community action boards and community action agencies. This bill is incredibly simple in its text and its aim. I'm sure you hear that all the time, but I swear it's true this time. All this bill does is we're trying to bring Maryland's requirements for community action boards into line with federal guidelines by repealing certain requirements for tripartite boards, including the 5-year term limit for board members. I think we all know how hard it is sometimes to get people to volunteer to serve on boards or to appoint people to volunteer to serve on boards. So this bill and what it does by repealing these requirements is going to help our community action agencies be that much more flexible and functional moving forward. So I just want to thank our friends at DHCD for their help with this legislation, as well as the community action agencies all around the state for all the hard work they do. I know in Baltimore County, the Community Action Network is one of the biggest, and they do some incredible work. So with that, I thank you all for your time. I urge a favorable report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Delegate Allen, the sponsor? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 860. We'll next go to Delegate Kerr, who's I believe here on behalf of the Montgomery County delegation, House Bill 424.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. For the record, Delegate Julie Kerr here on House Bill 424, presenting this in my capacity as chair of the Montgomery County House delegation. This is just a local bill that eases some barriers to the creation of affordable housing by our county's affordable housing agency. Pretty simple bill, passed both our House and Senate delegations unanimously, has no cost to the state. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Delegate Kerr? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 424. We'll go next to Delegate Kaiser. Delegate Kaiser, you are on House Bill 1420. Delegate Kaiser.
Oh my gosh. My bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you after I've been teased for being on the second page. Glad to be called now. Yes. Anyway, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and to the members of Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee, it's my pleasure to come before you today on House Bill 1420. And unlike Delegate Nick Allen, I can't say it's simple, but at the same time, it's also not too complex. This bill came to me from some people who were concerned. I chair, along with Senator Hester, the Joint Committee on Cyber Information Technology and Biotechnology. And so obviously we've been working a lot on cybersecurity and so worried about how things are going with our utilities. And as you may know, that some things were done last year, but there was a belief that some things were not done. As amended, this bill codifies that the Office of People's Counsel has the ability to retain cybersecurity expertise as needed and set standard definitions for critical software, supply chain risk, zero trust, cyber resilience, and critical infrastructure. This proposed legislation stems from the 2021 report from the Office of the Attorney General. I want to make a few points before I wrap things up. One, I don't think that Mr. Gregory Von Layman was able to join us. He's in another committee today. He's on the Maryland Cyber Council, and he's certainly an expert in this area and can address why we need some of these definitions and why the suggestion from industry that this report can't be done if we change these definitions. The report's due in June or July. I apologize for not remembering. This legislation wouldn't take effect until October. So that part is not the case. What I do have, Mr. Chairman, is a high school student from Howard County who not kind of to my chagrin outshone me by a million at the ECM hearing on this same bill. And Mr. Gottori will be speaking to a moment virtually, and he did show up that day. And I was so impressed with all the work he had done on research on this. So, and he will be speaking as well, but I hope people look at the testimony from Mr. Von Layman as well. So I'll just wrap that up, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. I urge the committee to support House Bill 1420, and I'm going to rely on my my high school expert, who's not even a senior yet. So, I mean, he's pretty impressive. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Kaiser. We'll take our virtual witness. Neil, why don't you unmute yourself, and you're going to be on the 2-minute clock, okay? And then you've got 2 minutes you've signed up favorable, and why don't you start, okay?
Sure. Can you all hear me well?
And actually, Mr. Von Layman has also popped in here, so we have 2 virtual witnesses. So, Mr. Gottori, you start, and it's 2 minutes.
Good. Thank you. Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, the other senators of this committee, good afternoon. My name is Neil Gottori, and I'm a junior at River Hill High School in Howard County. I apologize for not being able to make it in person today. It's spring break for my school system, and I'm currently visiting family in Massachusetts. With my time today, I'd like to address some of the concerns raised by the various utilities in their unfavorable statements during HB 1420's House proceeding. First, this bill, as Delegate Kaiser mentioned, would not impede the assessment process outlined by SB 800, also known as the Critical Infrastructure Cybersecurity Act, which was put forth by Senator Hester last year. HB 1420 would not take effect until October 1st, well after the report deadline and well before the next reporting period in 2026. Second, the text that required OPC to hire cyber staff was amended out. Now OPC simply has the explicit ability to hire cyber expertise when needed to best represent the interests of Marylanders. Third, to be clear, as it was raised in some of the unfavorable statements, there is no new definition of zero trust in this bill. It maintains the one set forth by SB 800 last year. The definition for critical infrastructure aligns with the CIRCIA, which is the Federal Critical Cyber Incident Reporting for Critical Infrastructure Act, and the Presidential Policy Directive 21. It was also recommended by the MD Attorney General in 2021 report. The definitions for supply chain risk and critical software are also from the AG. Now, I believe that the last two are especially important to include in the reporting process and to have very clearly defined, as in December, CISA raised concerns about the supply chain risk for the critical software in our grid, citing a study from Fortress Security, quote, 90% of software for U.S. energy companies contains components from leading nation-state adversaries and is 3 times more likely to contain critical vulnerabilities. Now, finally, let me say, SB 800 passed through this committee and became law last year. This is nothing but the natural evolution. It's something that should be done to improve the lives of Marylander in the state and our security posture. Please vote favorably. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. Let's go to Mr. Layman, and then we'll take questions. Mr. Layman, you on the 2-minute clock, and you can unmute yourself and you can start. Oh, you're still muted. There you go.
All right, thank you, sir. Let me pull up my testimony. Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to testify. As Delegate Kaiser mentioned, I'm Dr. Greg Von Layman. I'm staff to the Maryland Cybersecurity Council, a statutory body that's chaired by our Attorney General, Anthony Brown. As she also mentioned, just as background, the council benefited in 2021 from a report on the electric grid serving Maryland. This report was authored by an NSA employee who worked for a full year in the Attorney General's office as a researcher for the council. Altogether, the report made 29 recommendations, and many of these were included in HB 969, which the General Assembly passed last year and was signed into law by the governor. And there's currently a rulemaking underway to implement provisions of that bill. So House Bill 1420 aims to implement several of the report's residual recommendations. This includes the bill's provision for the Office of People's Counsel to hire and retain cybersecurity expertise as necessary. It also includes the bill's provisions that aim to address the absence of definitions in Maryland law for supply chain risk, critical infrastructure, and also defining critical software as a separate category of software for security assessments and specifying cyber resilience as a service reliability objective. Basically, I think most of these things are very good to include in this bill. Given the role of OPC and the importance of cybersecurity, it's appropriate, as the report does, to call out cybersecurity as expertise for OPC to hire. And further, it's consistent with the report, and I can see no downside in adding definitions of supply chain risk and critical infrastructure to the law. And in fact, definitions in the bill have the virtue of being very close to the NIST definitions. However, with the position of the Public Service Commission, that the bill's provisions regarding critical software and cybersecurity resilience are materially met, if not specifically called out by HB 969's adoption of standards specified by CISA. Consequently, I discern no harm or infidelity to the report's recommendations by removing those provisions by amendment. So I thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Von Layman. Any questions for either Delegate Kaiser or the two virtual witnesses? Okay, thank you to everybody. Thank you, Delegate Kaiser.
Thank you all. See you later.
Concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1420. Let's next go to Delegate Bagnell on House Bill 568.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. For the record, I'm Delegate Heather Bagnell, District 33C, Anne Arundel County, proud to present House Bill 568, Community Health Worker Appreciation Day. You have my written testimony, so I'll summarize. May 8th, 2018, the Community Health Worker Act was signed into law in Maryland, establishing the State CHW Advisory Committee, the certification of CHWs, and the accreditation of CHW certification training program within the Department of Health. House Bill 568 is part of a comprehensive, holistic effort to elevate the profile and value of CHWs. I will tell you that there are a lot of policies that I'm very proud of, but this may be my favorite bill. Community health workers are a key part of Maryland's healthcare workforce, but their work often goes unrecognized. They're often described as the essential piece of the puzzle in our continuum of care. I would argue most legislators outside of the healthcare space are unaware of the essential role which community health workers play in our healthcare ecosystem, especially in our efforts to address public health disparities. Because community health workers know the people and the services in their communities. They speak the language, figuratively and literally, of their communities, neighborhood by neighborhood. They broker trust in the community, and they connect their community members with services from preventive screenings and patient education to mental health and recovery services to oral health screenings. This is the workforce which ensures access. Now, our body knows the value of this essential workforce, and we have made efforts to raise awareness of their work and value. Last year, we passed a bill to study reimbursement for the full spectrum of services that they provide, which will be completed this December. And today we have the opportunity to pass a commemorative day, which will not only raise awareness, but build a policy framework that ensures access to quality care for those who would not otherwise have the means to access preventative, behavioral, and oral health care on a very personal level. These are the workers who connect services, and they address barriers such as transportation, financial instability, language access, and they create greater health outcomes, which improve exponentially. Now, House Bill 568 requires the governor to annually proclaim May 8th, Community Health Worker Appreciation Day in Maryland. The language of the proclamation is modeled after a similar version adopted in Ohio in 2022. Several other states, including Indiana, Michigan, and New Mexico, have already adopted formal recognitions of the diligent and important work of community health workers. And the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services declared the last week in August of 2023 National Community Health Worker Awareness Week. This is a bill that raises the profile of community health workers at no cost to the state, recognizing the essential role they play in the care in our communities. And for all these reasons, I ask for a favorable report on House Bill 568 to make sure this unseen, incredible, essential workforce is seen by the state of Maryland. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? We're going to start with Senator Augustine.
Thank you. First of all, I'm just so pleased to have Delegate Bagnell, who is just my ace #1 partner as it pertains to behavioral health things. I'm just really so grateful for her, which makes me have to ask you this question. How is this your favorite bill, given all the work that we've done, the amazing things that we do, including in this session?
It's my favorite bill, not to say that it's my favorite policy. We've done really important policy,
Okay.
but it's my favorite bill because of the return on the investment.
Okay.
It's no cost to the state. These community health workers have literally created their own advocacy coalition because that's how hard they work. And this is a way for the state to acknowledge all that hard work and the incredible impact they have in improving health outcomes, particularly in our public health space.
Thank you, Delegate Bagnell, for all that you do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions for the sponsor? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 568. We're going to next move to Delegate Rossman. I guess again, we're going just on the border, and Delegate Kerr will be next. And I don't know if Delegate Hill's still here, and then Delegate Martinez. So those are in that order. Delegate Rossman, you are here on House Bill 566. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee, I am Delegate Brooke Rossman for the record, and I'm here for my very first time. So thank you for welcoming me today. I am here to testify on behalf of Bill 566, which is a pretty simple bill. What this bill would do is create a statewide commission appointed by the governor, and commission members would be approved by the Senate from all 24 jurisdictions across the state to identify state and locally owned properties that still bear Confederate names. And by 2031, produce a report to the General Assembly, the governor, and all 24 jurisdictions with recommendations for name changes. That work would also be supported by an executive director for administrative support. And with that, I'll ask for a favorable report on House Bill 566. It's a pretty simple one.
Okay, any questions for the sponsor? Vice
Yeah.
Chair Kagan.
Thank you. Delegate Grossman, we're glad you're here. Congratulations on being here for the first time. Can you just talk about local control? So would this commission then say you municipality needs to, I mean, I'm sympathetic. with the
Exactly
concept.
right. They'll make a recommendation back to municipalities or counties to
counties.
make the change, but they have no authority over them if they do it or not. This is at least at the start of where we are today is we are researching within all of the 24 jurisdictions across the state. I know your county has already started to do some of this work, and so has Prince George's County. It's a pretty heavy lift. So that was why we ended up with this group who would help to do the research over the next couple of years. They would make the recommendation back to the local jurisdiction to then make those changes. And any cost associated with that would be the local jurisdictions.
Two more quick questions. One is, all right, will the state be looking at in its own house to clean house itself?
Yes.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Any additional questions for the sponsor? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 566. We're going to go to Delegate Kerr next on House Bill 1110. Delegate Kerr, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Vice Chairman, I'll start by saying this is not my favorite bill. My favorite bill is House Bill 1141 because it's the cross-file of the Vice Chairman's Senate Bill 1068.
Right.
But I am here today with House Bill 1110, Maryland Interstate Emergency Management Assistance Compact. And the purpose of the compact is to provide for emergency management mutual assistance between jurisdictions entering into the compact. It also provides for mutual cooperation in emergency management related exercises, training, and other testing activities. All this bill does is adds the city of Frederick to the cities who are already entered into the compact: Baltimore City, City of Annapolis, City of Loyal, City of Bowie, and Ocean City. So I ask for a favorable report.
Okay, any questions for the sponsor, Delegate Kerr? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Senator Lewis Young.
Surprise, surprise. I have to ask how this bill was generated since it's my district and I actually live in this city. So could you tell me where this came from?
Yes, I'd be happy to. I got a call from the mayor's office very late just before the last day to request bill drafting. And I inquired as to whether they were going to seek a cross-filer.
Or even inform their senator, maybe? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, additional questions. Okay. Thank you, Delegate Kerr. That concludes bill hearing on House Bill 1110. We'll go, is Delegate Hill or Representative? Okay. We're going to bring you up and then we'll go to Delegate Martinez. We're on House Bill 999 and you are the only witness. So, okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Tell us who you are.
For the record, my name is Shafat Hassan and I'm representing Delegate Hill, who couldn't be here this afternoon as she has another hearing. Chairman Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and the respected members of the committee. I'm presenting House Bill 999, which does not have a cross-file in the Senate. The bill was unanimously approved by the House 136-0, and it has no opposition. The bill creates a workforce to identify and analyze options for creating an open access network of citizen scientists and experts in science, technology, and industry. This network aims to promote collaboration and innovation based on sound science. The work group will consist of various members from the government, academia, and private industry. It would be housed at UMBC, and the bill has no fiscal note. I request a favorable report on the House Bill 999. I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the Representative Delegate Hill on House Bill 999? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on House Bill 99, which brings us to Delegate Martinez on House Bill 981. And you take the time you need to present again, House Bill 981.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. For the record, I am Delegate Ashanti Martinez, here to present House Bill 981, the principal departments, individuals with limited language proficiency, access to public service. This bill requires that all principal departments of the executive branch to implement statutory provisions that will ensure equal access to public service for individuals with limited English proficiency on or before July 1st, 2025 within all of the principal agencies. The principal agencies, for your information, are the Department of Management and Budget, the Maryland Department of Disabilities, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management, the Department of General Services, the Department of Information Technology, bless you, the Maryland Department of Planning, and the Department of Services and Civic Innovation. In this bill, also, any departments that are created after this implementation of July 1, 2025 will have 1 year to comply with the language access requirements. This bill passed the Health and Government Operations Committee unanimously 23-0 and passed the House floor unanimously 135-0. I urge the committee to vote favorably on House Bill 981.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Delegate Martinez on House Bill 981? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 981.
Thank you guys for your time.
And that concludes our bill hearings for today. Okay, folks, we've got Brad Fallon coming, as I mentioned, and we've advertised that he's en route. I didn't realize we were going to be as quick as we were, but he is en route. So why don't we come back here and we're going to have the briefing and questions for him on the affordable housing bill, and then we'll go right into voting. So why don't you come back here at 2? I think he will definitely be here by then. We'll do what? I'm sorry. Yeah. Huh? Yes, I think he'll be here by 2. So let's meet here at 2 for him, and then we'll do our voting, and then we'll see where we are. Okay. As far as tomorrow, I'm still work in progress.